Okay, it's on. First of all, just let me get you to repeat your name. And
William J. Wilkens,
what's your birthday?
9/17/24.
Okay.
Born in Germany, in Darmstadt. I was 2 years old when I came to this country.
I'm gonna get this a little closer. Yeah, you can just like you're looking at me. You were 2 years old when you came
To this
to
country,
America.
my mother came on the SS Bremen, and we have a picture of my mother and I on a big life preserver on the SS Bremen, see?
Yeah.
So there's no dispute about it. And we came through Ellis Island. All right. And my mother's, the reason we came, my father died 2 weeks before sailing, and the reason we came to the United States was because my mother had a sister here, and she was we had the passage and everything already taken care of. So she came here and stayed with her sister for many years, see?
Mm-hmm.
And then she finally got married, and then I got in the Air Force.
Tell me about when you first joined up.
When I first joined up, I went to join up in the Air Force, and I had a book with it was in German, that had my date of birth and everything in it, see? But it was in the old-fashioned German script, and they couldn't read it, and they turned me down. So I had to go to the principal of the high school, and he stated my age according to their records. Then I got in the Air Force. So I wanted in, see?
And you can still speak a lot of German, right?
Ja, ich kann Deutsch sprechen.
So after you joined up, tell me where you went then.
We went to Miami Beach, and I stayed in a hotel there and had my basic training. And that was fun in that hotel.
I haven't heard of anybody going through basic training at a hotel.
And right on the beach. So now, after I completed my basic training, I went to Chinook Field, and they finally sent me to Shepherd Field, Texas. And I was going to A&M school, that's Airplane Mechanics School.
Okay.
And while I'm in school, my mother writes me a letter stating that my uncle is a prisoner of war in Arkansas. Well, she says you ought to go over and see him. So I
But he was German.
He was a German prisoner, see? So now we I wrapped up the letter that she got, and I sent it to Washington, D.C. Never heard from him. I graduated from school there, and I'm sitting in the barracks with the double-decker barracks by myself. Everyone else is checked out, and I didn't know why. I was dumb at that time, see? Did not know why. So finally I got orders to go to Pecos, Texas. So now I said, I'm going to Pecos, Texas. They got a train waiting for you down at the, says, we'll take you down to the train. Well, it was a freight train. It was the only one going to Pecos, Texas. I got to Pecos, Texas, and there was a bus there, a whack, and a driver. And when I got off the train, they picked up all my baggage and put it in the bus. Well, they were already in the bus, and I came in and got in. Well, the bus was so crowded, I had to sit next to that whack. So I did. Best move I made. Anyway, we dated several times and found out that she worked in headquarters. I says, and her name is Ida Lon Price. And I said to her, Ida, I says, find out why I'm here, because I don't know. And I'm on AT-13s. Trained on 17, and they demoted me to an AT-13. All right. Anyway, she found out that some officer in Kentucky found out that I asked for permission to go see my uncle, and he thought I was a German spy, and that's why they sent me there to keep an eye on me.
Mm.
I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what you do. I said, when's your day off? She told me her day off. And I said, don't show up that day for any circumstances, because I'm gonna raise hell. So she says, okay. So I went in there, and I says, I wanna see, I don't remember what his rank was, I'd say colonel, you know, I don't think he was a colonel. But I says, Colonel, I wanna see the colonel. And the girl, the whack at the desk right before his office said, I'm sorry, he's not accepting any visitors today. I says, he's accepting me. No, he's not. And I walked behind her, opened the door, and he heard me, see? And he was coming toward me. Only I saluted him like I was supposed to. And I says, Colonel, I'm gonna call him Colonel because I don't remember his rank. I says, Colonel, I says, you got two choices, put me in the guardhouse or get me off this base. He says, sit down, let's talk. So I told him my story. He said, now, you're gonna be here for a couple of weeks at least. He says, you do your job while, and he pointed his finger right at me, you do your job while you're here. I says, yes, sir. He said, I'll look into this. Well, I got down to the flight line on an AT-13. I didn't even know what it looked like. And I'm supposed to pre-flight it. I didn't know where the cockpit lights were because it was dark. I said, you better wait for the guy next door and let him brief you in on it, see? So he did, and I briefed that, took a, what do you call it? I just mentioned the word.
Pre-flight?
Pre-flight, you know, and make sure everything, the instruments, everything was okay in order,
Right.
see? And I guess about a week after that, or maybe a little longer, I don't remember the dates exactly. He called me in his office. He says, we got orders to ship you out. And I was going to Kingman, Arizona, to gunnery school. I went through gunnery school, then I went to Lincoln, Nebraska, because I had everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Went to gunnery school, and now at gunnery school, you had a 50 caliber machine gun. You had blue paint on yours. I had red on mine. He had white on his. The other guy had yellow. So we know who hit that airplane, see?
Mm-hmm.
And they had airplanes on the sand, and we were shooting at 100 feet off the sand and shooting at in the sand, see?
Yeah.
Anyhow, that worked out pretty good. And so then next thing you know, I'm going to Lincoln, Nebraska, and we crewed up. All those fellows you saw in there were going to be my partners in the air, see? Pilot, co-pilot, navigator, everything.
Okay.
So after that, I put in 30 missions, and we got shot down once in Mons, Belgium. Our engine, we hit number 3 engine, and number 3 engine, we lost a lot of gas. We didn't have enough gas to cross the channel, so we had to bail out or come in for a landing somewhere. Well, we didn't know where to land. We were over German territory. So the pilot was on a telephone, and he found out that Mons, Belgium was taken by Patton the day before. So we went to Patton. I went to Mons, Belgium, and we landed there. And we spent the night there, and they fixed up our airplane, fixed the hole so we could get back, and gassed us up so we could get back to our base.
Mm.
But we were really shot down. I mean, you know, I don't care how you look at it.
Forced down by damage.
Yeah, yeah. All right. After that,
Show me a picture of your crew there, if you would. Just-
yeah, this is a picture of the crew, and that is me standing by the prop.
Hold it up a little higher. There you go.
That was me standing by the prop, and the pilot and the co-pilot are sitting right down in front here. And we had a Chinese navigator, or Japanese navigator. I couldn't remember, I don't remember which. But anyway, he was real good. and he was wounded on one of our missions. And he was the radio operator, that was the tail gunner, that was me, flight engineer, that was a waist gunner, and that was, he was up in the nose.
Okay.
And he was the ball turd, one on the bottom underneath.
Very good.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten in touch with them. I know several of them have passed away because I wrote a letter for the pilot and found out I got the letter back that he's deceased.
Okay.
And I wrote several other letters, and I don't know what happened to him, but, and the only one that I know that is alive is the navigator. He's the one that was wounded. But I wrote him a letter, but never got a response from him. But I'm gonna try writing him again, see
Good.
what happens.
You told me before where you were based in England. Where was that?
Grafton Underwood. It was about 90 miles northeast of
London?
London, yeah, of London, northeast of London. See? And that city was bound to almost nothing. There's just a few places you could go to there and have an ale.
Can you tell me what was life like living there on the base in England?
The life wasn't much because we a lot of times we got up at 4 in the morning and we had briefing, go breakfast, have briefing, and we took off. And we didn't get back until 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and that was just enough time to eat dinner and go to bed. And now we flew 3 days, flew 4 off 3, see?
Okay.
Flew 4 off 3. And that didn't always work out because we have a maximum effort going. Now we had to fly on our off days. And we just missed those. We kept going on the cycle. Because they didn't count that you just do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got in 30 missions, and Pilsen, Czechoslovakia was the last mission that we flew. Now, there was a lot of missions in between, like Cologne, for example. We purposely missed the cathedral at Cologne. I was there after the war and saw the cathedral, saw the damage that we did do, but it was just superficial damage. And I was talking to this fella, he says, now all painted glass, stained glass is in the basement, and we put it back in the windows after the war.
Oh.
That's why it got in there, see? And he was touring me around, showing me the damage that was done on the inside, which was minor damage, but it was damage, see?
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow.
When you're flying from England to, for instance, Hamburg, Germany, how long would that take? Round trip?
Well, it would show you on the mission there, we're back and so forth, But it wasn't that far, see, because it was north and east of us. Because we were at Grafton Underwood, and Hamburg was kind of northeast of us. And that's where we hit the submarine pens. That's where most of your submarines were made. And I also radioed my uncle and told him we're coming, but don't worry, I told him, we're not going to bomb you, we're going out to get the other one. That wasn't so, but I told everybody that.
Since you had family in Germany, were you in touch with them before or after the war?
I was there before the war, and I was there after the war. See,
Did they have, I'm sure they had some hardships, but
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
what was it like for them?
It was tough. A lot of times they didn't have enough food. except if they lived on the farm, they had food. See, they'd always hide enough for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
anyway, we had a farm there, and I lived in a house with a straw roof, and it had straw beds. The beds were built in the side of the wall out, and then straw on top for a mattress. And that's where I was born. I started out rough when I wasn't
You
even
did.
born.
Any other missions that are pretty memorable for you?
Well, we were gonna go to Berlin, and we never went to Berlin. We went south of Berlin to bomb the German training camp for officers.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a pretty rough mission.
Yeah. So, tell me about that mission.
Well, I don't 100% remember it. I'd have to look at my notes
Okay.
over there, see. Anyway, but every mission we flew, we had holes in the airplane. There were, I think, 3 or 4 times we could not fly our airplane because we had too many holes in it. Out of 30 missions, I guess it was about 10 days we couldn't fly it because of holes.
Did you ever lose anybody on your missions?
Well, the navigator
In your
was
crew?
wounded. Navigator was wounded, that's all.
Okay.
Now, the waist gunner was sitting in the waist firing his 50 caliber machine gun, and he was hit by flak, knocked him across the fuselage into the other side.
Mm.
But he had a flak suit on, so he was in good shape. He got back out shooting.
There you go. Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then they'd say to him, "Oh, how many airplanes did you shoot at 262s?" I says, "I shot at several of them, but I can't tell you who knocked them down because we're in 36 airplanes here, 36 there, 36 there, 36 there, and 36 there, and we're all shooting at one airplane. Who hit them?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, see."
How do you keep from shooting your own airplane when you're all in formation?
Well, now, I never had a problem because my gun wouldn't shoot if I was over the cockpit or something like that,
Mhm.
see? Or over number 1 or 2 engine. It wouldn't shoot, see? They
Okay.
had it cut off right there.
Okay.
But some of them, now the ball turret didn't, when he was shooting straight ahead, he could have hit the props, but he couldn't fire there neither, see?
Yeah. But even other plane, your own other bombers in your formation.
Yeah. Well, you had to be real careful not to hit them. And you had to know what you're shooting at. Most of the time we were shooting at 262s or 109.
Mm-hmm.
That was a German
German
jet,
fighters.
yeah. But anyway, it was an experience I don't want to go through again.
How long were you serving? What?
I was over in England in 44, came back in 45.
Okay.
I put in 30 missions in that short period of time.
Yeah.
We flew more than we were on the ground. And
Not many made it to 30 missions.
very few people made it, and this is very few. Now, on one of those folders, I think I gave it to you, or I don't know if you took it or not, told you how many, the Air Force lost more men than any other branch of the service. I don't care if you're talking about the Navy, the Marines, even on the islands where they were shot up pretty bad, but we still lost more. We lost over 500 airplanes. That's a lot.
Yeah. I think it said it's something like 285,000 lost.
Something like that, yeah.
Can't remember.
remember the exact number neither. But there's a folder in there. I wanted to give it to you, but you didn't want it. It had all that in there.
Yeah, I got a picture of it.
Oh, okay. You got a picture, I forgot that. Oh, yeah.
Well, anything else you want to share about your time in the service?
Well, after the war in England, I was on my way to Japan. I came down with some kind of a fungus at Chanute Field. And we had a fallout for formation every morning, you know. And they said, you and you cut the grass and do this and that, see. And I thought to myself, I said, be damned if I'm gonna do that. See, I was tech sergeant, you know, and he was the second lieutenant, see. And so I got in there and I put on my bathing suit and sat out there next to the lawnmower sunbathing. And here he comes along. He said, you gonna cut the grass? I says, no. He said, well, you're gonna have to see the colonel or the captain or whoever he was, I don't remember. So I went in there and I saw him, see. And he says, well, Sarge, you're gonna have to do something. You're the ranking non-com in that barracks, see. He says, you'll be barracks chief. I said, oh, okay, I'm barracks chief now, see. So I let everybody know that I'm barracks chief. And I gotta go get the mail and call the mail every day. That damn stuff was heavy for all those people in that barracks, double-decker barracks. And I gotta call the mail. That ate up all my time. I says, something's gotta give. So I called had a fellow there and wanted to be my assistant. I said, you're my assistant. You take care of everything. I said, any complaints and so forth, send them to me. So he was, and then he got tired of it, and he got an assistant. So anyway,
I see how it works.
So anyhow, that got over with, and I was sent to San Antonio to Brooke General Hospital because I had trouble with my hand. It was swelling up, and there was fungus on it, and so forth. Now where I got that, I have no idea. See, and I couldn't use it. And I finally, I went to San Antonio, Texas, and they cured that. See. I was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, whatever it was, and they cured it, whatever I had. Now I go to Santa Ana. I'm on my way to Japan. I never made it to Japan because the war was over. They ended the war before I got over there, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
See, they didn't have to train me or any of us all B-17, all B-29 was just a bigger airplane, that's all.
Yeah.
We still had the same guns and everything, you know. Oh, yeah.